Hey there. So, I know the fan's on in the background. I think that you'll still be able to hear me just fine because the microphone's pretty close to my face now. I was recently gifted this set of coasters, and so I'm using 3 of them as the picks today. Alright, so pick 1, pick 2, and pick 3. Use your own intuition to decide if one or more of these has a message for you. Okay, let's start with pick 1. You chose the Realm Bridger. I personally resonate with this card very much. Okay, number 41. Visionaries, architects of the future. Information from other realms, bridging the seen with the unseen. Inspiration, seeding a new earth, traversing different states of consciousness, birthing ideas from subtle reality, journeying. You are the pioneer of your life. The way forward may be in your dreams or visions. You might find it useful to do automatic writing or intuitive drawing to capture some of the more lucid information. Be creative and don't take on the opinions of others. It's time to think and do a whole other way. After all, as the saying goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So what I'm going to do is, since this card is talking about you being a bridge to the other realms, encouraging you to be very creative, we're going to check in to see if there are any blocks to that at this time for you. Anything that you should be paying attention to while doing this. Looks like I have to go pick up the person I hired to mow my lawn. So we're going to have to put this on pause. It's probably just meant to be. We'll just take it, as that's the way it's going to be. And I will come back and pick this up again, okay? I'll see you then. It'll be just a moment for you. Alright. I got a call back and I didn't have to go. But I decided to have a lunch break since I was stopped anyway, so. I know this doesn't probably look that appealing, but it's pretty yummy. So it was tuna fish in a bowl that I had left, and I just added spring mix, salad, banana peppers, avocado, and potato chips, like plain Utz potato chips. And that is a yummy lunch for me. I'll be back when I'm done. Okay. I'm back. So, the need to take care of practical things might be very necessary in your role as the realm bridger, right? Because, you know, some people feel their strong footing, their it's hard to speak right now. Let me just breathe a minute. Some people feel that they've got a strong footing or a stable foundation in the earth realm, right? And others feel that their stable foundation is in the spiritual realm. And this is sort of like bridging both of those. So this is a very important role you have here. So if you're more comfortable in the spiritual realm, like I am, then it's important to put as much of your focus on establishing that stable foundation on the earth realm as well. So practical things like, you know, mowing my lawn and eating my lunch, those things had to be done. Now they're done. Now we can come back to this, right? So I want to like incorporate that into the message here. I think I am going to wear these. Let me just, before I put those glasses on, let me just ask my vision to clear up. Hold on. A gloomy old donkey and close friend of Winnie the Pooh, thanks for noticing me. If there are any sad parts of you that are in grief, sadness, resentment, depression, discouragement, those may need to be honored. As well, in order for you to be most effective in your role as realm bridger. Alright, I just got the feeling that I should get this other deck out. It's kind of mixed decks, but it's in two different boxes. Every little thing she does is magic. Everything she does just turns me on. Even though my life before was tragic. Okay, I'm going to assume that I won't need these glasses because I've asked my eyes to return to their state of wholeness and wellness and clarity. If you didn't watch my video on quantum healing the other day, I was just giggling so much that I had to wear my glasses while I was talking about the topic. And then afterwards, of course, I took the time that I needed to do the healing on myself. So my vision has improved greatly. I wouldn't say it's still kind of improving with every moment as the resources allow. Let's see, we've got Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, human cray biology gave her incredible power, including the ability to fly through space and fire photonic beams. You have special abilities, you know, there I was just talking about the quantum healing video I did. You may be already tapped into that realm, and you may be utilizing some of those kind of things in your journey. And perhaps even using some of those things to help with the sad parts. a booger. Isn't this interesting? You can pick your nose and you can pick your friends, but you can't pick the friend in your nose. But you can't pick the friend in your nose. So, because you're in this role, right? This is a very important role, like I said, and you're not the only one. There are other players that are involved in this mission that you have, right? In this thing that you're trying to achieve, or that you are in the process of achieving, I should say. And there are other players that you didn't get to choose. You don't get to, like, say, no, I'm not dealing with that person. You don't get to, like, necessarily choose the other factors, the other players in this bridge you're building, right? It's like, this is a bridge for everybody. And so when you allow yourself to be divinely guided, you're acting on behalf of the divine, and that means some of your free will is irrelevant in certain cases, right? Like, this is a reminder that there are certain people that you're meant to collaborate with. And in order to achieve what you're here to achieve, you don't get to, like, pick and choose, right? And for me, if I were to apply this to my own self, I would say, like, yeah, of course I know that. Like, that's why I take everybody as if they're a part of me. You know, every single person. I have withdrawn my judgments. I am willing to withdraw my expectations and proceed without attachment to an outcome. I am trusting and having faith. I'm taking the next step that is shown to me, that is inspired to me. And I am collaborating with those that I am guided to along the way. And there's no, like, little sassy part of me that thinks like I'm better than anyone else, or that somebody else isn't good enough to, you know, or hasn't, like, done enough in their spiritual journey, or hasn't honored me enough, or recognized me enough, or any of that. Like, whatever the interaction is that I'm guided towards, I will participate in it in a way of, like, you know, having faith. And, like, that may be with some people who are sort of like Eeyore, right? Like, this, I think, was talking about Eeyore's friends kind of still accepted him. A close friend of Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. So, I think that something that's coming to my mind right now that I want to talk about is, I think that in this spiritual journey, like, we can get to a point where we kind of have to take space from people who aren't doing the work, right? Where it's kind of like, you realize that by surrounding yourself with people who are sort of not getting it, and it feels like a restriction on your energy sometimes. So that's why the hermit mode exists, right? Like, that's why people withdraw into themselves in their own space, so that they can kind of be with themselves and get to know themselves and be in their own energy for a while. And the purpose of that is to get to know yourself, to fully understand, like, who you are without the parts of you that want to be something for someone else, or the parts of you that don't want to disappoint this person, or the parts of you that want to fit in with that person. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of be with yourself, and then you get to that more authentic state. And after that, I think that there's this realization where it's like time to... It's like, once you know yourself, it's okay to be back in the field of somebody who doesn't know themselves, right? Who's somebody who may be suffering from depression, or even like an egotistical, arrogant stance, because those people don't affect you anymore once you know yourself. So it's like this bridge from earth to spiritual heaven, right? That bridge is for everybody, for the depressed and the arrogant as well. Like, that's what you're doing here. So it's not like considering yourself separate from them. It's like you are a part of, and they are a part of this whole thing you're doing, right? Like, who else did you think you were going to make the bridge for? People who already knew that they could do it? No. Of course it's going to be for the people who are unaware that they have another option. So it's like you open yourself back up to those people as appropriate. I'm not saying without boundaries or agreements to how you agree to be treated and things like that. Whatever's appropriate. Let's see. Gosh, my fingers have gotten so pudgy in the past few months. Just having a little inflammation, no biggie. A headache. Take 2 aspirin and call Dr. Strange in the morning. Overthinking can really make you stuck. This isn't a process of figuring it all out. Like I said so many times in this reading already, it's like a process of taking the next right step. And if you are overthinking, if you're confused, if you don't know what to do next, that's a sign that you should just chill. Stop thinking. Be present. You know, maybe there's something else for you to see where you're at, or maybe you need rest. So the mind can really distract us from this, because the mind is only going to do what the ego wants. And the ego may have a different agenda than what the divine has. You know? And this bridge has to include everyone, and the ego might not include everyone, right? The ego is what makes us separate. And so you're really trying to both respect that you have this ego and this separateness, and respect that you are part of one and the all. And that is true for each and every one of us. I want to just ask the other oracle for anything else that is relevant to look at. I know this one's going to say assistance. This one is one that got wet. And see, it shows through the other side, so I knew that's what that was. So we already talked about how there's other players here, right? Like you may be assigned to collaborate and work with other people. You may already be healed from depression yourself and apathy, but it was all part of your path, right? The experience you had with it was what helped you gain wisdom about that point of view, right? It's like, how are you going to build a bridge that a depressed person can use without knowing what perspective a depressed person is in? You have to honor where somebody's coming from and what will get them on the path. Ooh. My package was delivered. My package was delivered. I have to go. Hold on, I'm just trying to see if this is, it categorized it as spam, so I just want to see that I'm really like, it's delivered. Sweet, I've got to go get my package. I can't wait because my mailbox has a little issue, so I'm also gonna enjoy the fresh air and be back to talk about this a little bit more. So another practical thing taking precedence over this spiritual path. Like, both things need to be considered, right? Again, that's really being driven home in your reading in particular. Alright, so here's what I got while I was out there. You have healed a lot, and you got to this point, and it's sort of like this message is about continuing to do self-care, taking help where you need it, especially for practical things, right? Because like I had someone else mow my lawn, right? Like I have never hired someone to do my lawn. I've been mowing my own lawn for years. Ever since I had my own place to mow a lawn, I mowed my own lawn. But I just knew somebody who could use a little money, and I was like, what the heck, I'll just hire them to do it, right? And that freed me up for some, like, doing this reading, for using my resources for something else. And I feel like that's it. It's like, tend to practical things, take help where you can, where you need it. There's people that are good at things that you can allow them to do and to help you with. And that comes with practical things, but also the building of the bridge, also like spiritual topics, like just know that you have wisdom, and then there's always more. And you're doing it, basically. That's what I want to say. You're doing it. I'm just going to get one more card from this deck. Alright, we got 3 cards. That's fine. Clear out the clutter. So those are practical things, right? Immerse yourself in artistic and creative expression. And we saw that with the Realm Bridger. It was encouraging you to be more creative. And dig in and see it through to completion. Persevere. Like, you are doing this. It might seem like not much is going on, but that's specifically for the purpose of you delving into the creative realm. It's not necessarily about learning new wisdom. It's about freeing yourself up to be in the creative space. Be receptive. Allow. Receive your inspired understanding. Speak less. I want to say speak less because it's incredibly forced for me to speak throughout this whole reading, right? Like, I would just rather be in silence right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's the feeling I get. And so that's why I feel like you are, or will, should be, right? Like, can't allow yourself to be without worrying, you know? Yes, tend to the practical things, but then just go into meditation. Chill the F out. Don't worry about thinking things through. Don't worry about figuring things out, and just like let yourself be. And as I said that, like, I was literally looked ahead and I had this in front of my desk with the bee. I love that about the universe, right? Like, the universe responds to me. Like, it's like that. And that's through being in that slowed down feminine space of creation, of creating my world with my words. That's why I don't want to speak much, because I'm creating my world. I would like a lot of peace and calm in my world. I don't need to fill up my world with a lot of words, with a lot of understanding. I just have to be. I've done a lot of the understanding already. Practical needs need to be kept up with. But other than that, just make room for my downloads, right? Make room. And that means being still, too. Okay, pick one. That is your reading. Remember, it's meant to be helpful. Just take what's helpful to you, leave the rest. I picked two. You chose the Beyond the Mind card. Beyond the Mind. Okay, let's see. Number 20. Thinking with the heart, being present, heart and mind connection, meditation, the bliss of being, quieting the monkey mind, fathoming the unfathomable, finding happiness within, going beyond intellectual limitation. Take a step outside of your mind-based concerns or limitations. Looking at things in an overly logical way will hinder you and obstruct access to your superpowers. You may be transfixed by a past experience. The past may be running you and making your mind spin so you cannot see what is really in front of you. Consider what your heart and your gut are telling you. Step back and clear your mind. Meditate in your own way. Contemplate what the situation at hand would feel like if you released all fears and worries. Are these concerns even yours? Wow, that's an invitation to lighten your load. Pick two. Okay, so in pick one, there was a mention of a headache, and it's like overthinking. Really, it fills up all the moments that you could otherwise be enjoying, loving, being, allowing, receiving. The mind is a useful companion, but it's not a good driver. Our heart actually knows the way, and our mind can sometimes distract us from even listening to our heart. Babysitting. Trust me, I'm good with kids. Like, you know, when we've got a new mother and she's reading all these self-help books or books about parenting, and she just wants to do all the right things. So she follows the prescribed method that the book says, and she's following all the rules and doing all the things right. And if you were to look at the recommendations for how to put children to sleep over the years, you would see that they've changed quite a bit. That at one point the rules said put the baby on their back. Another point they said put them on their belly. Another point they said swaddle them. Another point they said they should have no blankets in the crib. Things have always changed when it comes to the rules. And that's because it depends on who's saying those rules. In actuality, the care of a child comes best done through the heart, because the heart connects to that particular child, and the heart can interpret what that particular child needs. We're all different humans. We have different needs. Some of the needs are the same, but to different degrees that we need them. So tuning into the heart space in order to decide what is best is always going to give you the customized information suited to you. It's the same reason why I ask you to use your own intuition to decide if these messages are pertinent to you. Because this message might be very helpful to one person and not another. We've been trained into thinking that we need to follow the rules, and a lot of us taught our children to follow the rules, to do what is expected, to act appropriately in certain circumstances, right? Well, one of the detriments to doing things that way is that we program our humans to detach from their own navigation system, which is their body, which can tell them how something is for them, whether it feels right or wrong. It is a personalized experience. However, when being trained to follow the rules instead, we lose touch with our inner guidance system and instead look outside of ourselves to find out what to do. And so in a lot of cases, this may be a matter of retraining the self to go inward, to check in with self and what self needs. It's not about image. It's not about following the rules. It's about really checking in with self on what self needs. We got emergency rooms. Visiting is usually a pain. When we slow down to this degree and we get into that receiving mode, we're getting in touch with our heart. When our heart opens, if we have unprocessed pains from experiences before that we had misunderstood or tried to follow a rule to deal with, that pain might surface, because the pain needs to be having our love. And when we have our heart open, that is the pain's opportunity to get our attention in a loving way. So when our heart opens, it is not uncommon for some pain to surface and some tears to be shed. Shang-Chi, master of Kung Fu. Raised as a living weapon with superhuman martial arts abilities, Shang-Chi defied his crime lord father and became a superhero. It's like, despite the programming, you can still become who you are meant to be. It's just a matter of deprogramming. It's a matter of getting in touch with your heart, acting from your inspiration and your inner urge and your curiosity. That which comes from within can be your guide. And then you'll end up being something that others may not have expected of you, but that you know is right for you, that is you. Hulkbuster armor. Armed with upgraded repulsion, Linbeam blast, Unibeam blast. Sorry, I'm not familiar with these words, so. And Libra hammer, Ultra hammer. Oh boy. Armed with upgraded repulsors, Unibeam blast and ultra hammer arms, this suit was designed to go face to face with Hulk. So this is like somebody created a suit to defeat a certain thing. It's the equivalent of putting on a mask to survive needing to be accepted by a certain segment of society, maybe even your family, maybe even your own family's expectations. You had to wear a mask to portray that you were fitting in. Also, that mask might also serve as armor to protect you from any hurts. So it's recognizing that you may have to de-armor yourself. Taking a selfie. Feeling cute might delete later. Okay. I think this card is reminding you that this is a process and there'll be waves, right? There'll be a moment where you need to be present with an emotion that arises with that open heart, and then when that passes through, you'll be on this kind of elated feeling where you just feel like everything makes sense and you're comfortable with the world. And it's sort of like just being with all of the waves, each part of the wave that you're going to experience as you live with an open heart as a human on Earth. But don't forget your magic. By the hoary hosts of Hoggoth. And when you come down to this stillness, and when the emotions stop flowing, and when there's stillness, some of those inspirations and curiosities are going to be leading you towards your magic. So experimenting, being open-minded, not using the mind to doubt or fear what may happen, but following the inner urge to allow you to live out what is possible for you, which may be something totally unexpected and unsupported by others that you've previously tried to fit in with through the armor or the mask, or whose rules you previously tried to follow. So the mind is really the only inhibitor to this process of allowing and being. So if you can replace the mind's analysis mode with presence and being, and then enact the mind when it's time to take action on what you're inspired to. So you're in your stillness, you're receptive, creative, you receive an inspired idea and you need to take action on it. Now your mind gets to analyze what is the best way to proceed with that action. The mind's job is not to question whether that's the good action to take. If that's a divinely inspired action, it might not make sense to the mind. Allow your mind to rest until it can serve its purpose, which is to decide how best to take the action that you were inspired to divinely. So you're basically breaking out of the paradigm of following the rules and of fitting in. You're taking a very relaxed, comfortable route out of the fixed box or the comfort zone that you've been in. This is what your soul came to do. It was always what you were aiming to do all along. You knew that there would be a time that this would come, a time that would come that this would be appropriate for you to proceed in. Up until now, things have not been this way. So this is like honoring who you really are, bringing it into justice, because so far a lot of what you've lived out has not been the truth of who you are. And that part of you, that authentic version of you, it needs justice, and only you can allow that to be. Know your worth. If there are any little mind games being played where you think that you don't deserve something, that you're not worth it, that you need to suffer because of what you've done in the past, it's time to let all of that go, okay? Also, there may be a need to separate from people who are having expectations of you and won't let you be in peace to do this thing that you're going to do. When people are pulling on your energy and asking you to perform services for them that you don't have the capacity to, there's going to be a point where if your armor said that you're in service to others, it doesn't mean that you'll never be in service to others. It doesn't mean that that's not an authentic version of you that wants to be in service to others. But if you are also doing it as part of your mask, then that's going to have to stop. And there may be some people who don't like that, or who are disappointed by that, who are depending on you, who are feeling entitled to have you continue on in the role that you were in their lives, and that you will noticeably feel are sucking the life out of you, the life force out of you, because it's not time for you to do that anymore. It's time for you to give yourself justice. You'll feel it like stress, because your inner self knows there's something else you should be doing. So every time you devote yourself to serving someone else instead of yourself, you're going to feel very stressed out. You're going to feel like there's something else you should have been doing. That inner guidance system that is your body is going to try to speak to you about it. So you may have already done a lot of work to heal from those mismatched and unfair relating dynamics in your life. You may have done a lot of work to know your worth. And it's just a matter of letting go of those programs for good, and knowing that that is the right and appropriate thing to do, and knowing that you may come back to being in service, but right now it's like the only thing you could offer would just empty your cup. You know, you're at a stage where you've got to refill your cup, because you're not going to be able to operate the way that you were operating. You won't be able to sustain what was anyway. So you have to shut down enough to learn what is true for you. Learn what you do want to be doing. Learn what fulfills you. There's definitely like a recognition of having healed from certain relating dynamics that were not good for you, that required you to have armor. And if you were to keep those people in your life, you'll not be able to drop the armor. So just take a step back, let them see who you really are, but some of them can only see it from a distance, right? This is the time to do it, and you have the impetus to do it now. So you have what it takes. Dig in and see it through to completion. So you've been in process of healing these things and making these changes that need to be made, and it's saying, well done, keep going. There's more to this. You have all the resources you need. You have all the resources that you need, not all the resources that they need, right? Okay. You serve them best right now by being an example of someone who takes care of themselves and who trusts themselves and who honors themselves, right? And when they see an example of that, they know it's an option for them. Some people will like that very much, and some people will not. Okay, pick 2. Remember, this is meant to be helpful. Only take the information that is helpful to you and leave the rest. I'm going to move on to pick 3. Our ancient future. Interesting. Wisdom from indigenous peoples, ancestors, holding the key for the future, ancient remembering, bloodlines, how the past affects the future, a time to step up, timeless power symbols, activations for powerful shifts. Okay, I do just have to take a sip of water. Or several gulps, rather. Okay. This card is imbued with activations for a new paradigm. You are now being showered with blessings in preparation for a transformation. It may be turbulent at times, but you will grow and heal through the coming journey. Partake in activities that help you drop into a meditative state as often as possible. Use clearing tools to raise your vibration, and don't get caught up on the decisions. Don't get caught up on the destination, rather. Focus on the journey and experience. You can navigate a situation you have no experience with by being truly present. Integrity and intuition will be your guide. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Like that tingles all through my entire body. To be honest, I feel like these 3 readings have been a progression, right? Like, you could find yourself at any stage of these, or all 3 could be pertinent to you. So if you were drawn to any of the others, I do recommend taking a listen. I felt like there was like a song coming in, you know, like sometimes I will have a song come in as part of the message, and I just didn't know what the song was, and that kind of is what this card is about, right? Like just not knowing and being led by the knowing that you don't know what's next, that this is something new. Sanctum Sanctorum. The mansion of Doctor Strange. Bigger on the inside than the outside and protected by spells. This is where the magic happens. And I feel like it's like you are protected as you go into this. This is what you came for. You're on track. You know, you've done what you needed to do. Like you're literally in the place where you get to create your new world. It looks different on the outside and the inside, right? Like, because this is being created on the inside. Infinity Gauntlet. One of the most powerful weapons in the universe. It houses the Infinity Stones and grants unlimited power. Godhood is a snap. Whew, chills, right? It's like you have everything you need to do this. You're completely, thoroughly tapped in, tuned in, turned on, and you're liberated, right? You're free of what could limit you from doing so. And it's like you might be resting in a space that is a comfortable space, but you can step out of that at any moment and you know it. A shaking of Earth's surface caused by the collision of tectonic plates, or the inhuman ability of Daisy Johnson, aka Quake. You're really gonna send out not just ripples, but you're gonna establish this new way on Earth that's just gonna kind of collapse the old reality. It's gonna help collapse the old reality. Yes, what you're here to establish will help collapse the old reality. Sorry, but internally I just said, oh my God. This is just so exciting. I like that it said, oh my God, because it's like godhood is a snap. It's like that. And I just heard, oh God, you devil. You like your God's Trojan horse. Alright. Aliens. They're not from around these parts. Yeah, what you're bringing here is not inspired from here. It's your ancestry is from other places. Wakanda, the most technologically advanced nation on Earth. This hidden African country is the world's main source of vibranium. Okay. A technological revolution. So this could be some sort of spiritual technology. Taking a selfie, feeling cute, might delete later. Interesting. So there may be a little bit of doubts that creep in later, right? Like what have I done here? Like, is this okay? Because it's so vast reaching. It's such a big change, and I think like the old paradigm allowed much smaller changes, right? It's okay. Nothing's gone wrong. You're utilizing your magic as you should, and you're trusted to do this because of who you are, right? Because you're not the devil, because you're not here to harm or hurt others. You're very powerful, though. And it's like you have built in what you would need to assure that you didn't do anything recklessly or that would harm others, right? This isn't like Atlantis. This isn't like you're not respecting everything else in the universe. Yeah, my throat chakra just got a little bit of attack. I'm just pulling from the oracle right now. I'm shuffling it. Oh wow, 55-55 right then. During the reading that's talking about changing things for wow. Changing things in a wow way. I can't even speak. I can't even get my words out right. Yeah, you're driven to do this. This is something that you're very capable of doing, willing to do, will do. And also, the mind is not involved in what inspires you to do this, okay? Because there's no reason that you would do this except for your inspiration, right? Like, there's no mind analysis that's going to bring you to the conclusion that you should do this. Like, you're not going to analyze the information you already have in a way that says, oh, I should do this. No. This is divinely inspired. Your mind could talk you out of this, right? If you consulted your mind might be like, that's not reasonable. No, there's no way that you should be doing that. Things like that. You might even feel apathetic about it. You might be just like, this is just way out there. These are the same color, so I'm going to say, maybe instead you were overindulging. Could have been alcohol, food, sex, shopping, whatever, right? Because you're avoiding a lot of this big mission because, like, I feel like it's so different. It was kind of like, do all those things while you can, because those are not even going to be on the plate afterwards. The tectonic plates are about to shift. A new way is coming. And it'll be kind of like amusing to think that you even dragged your feet to live out overindulgence, because this new thing will just be so much more fulfilling, more true to who you are, because it will allow you to continue to embody higher versions of yourself that are not sustained by overindulgence in a human body. Wow. Oh, okay. I'm just going to say that. Okay. Guardian, you are safe and protected at all times, right? Because this is on your path. It seems like this is risky. It's not. You own your power, and it's like, make this a game for yourself. Make this fun for yourself. Take time to play and be in the space where it's like, this is just something you're doing. It's not like, you don't have to think about the far-reaching consequences and results of this, because you're not doing it for that reason. But that is the reason why your subconscious has been probably distracting you from it, because it feels the vastness, it feels the bigness of it, and it knows that that's all stuff that you're not going to be indulging in anymore, because it's not going to be relevant anymore. Wow, very interesting. Pick 3. So remember, it's meant to be helpful. Just take what's helpful to you, leave the rest. And I'll see you in the next one.